everyone, and welcome to another Fresh Fiction Video Book Club. I'm Samantha T, and today we have two authors for you instead of our usual one. We have Lauren Mechling and Rachel Dodes, who are here to join us talking about their new novel, The Memo. Welcome, ladies. It's so good to have you.
Thank you, Samantha. It's great to be here.
Well, since we're kind of doing this in tandem, we'll go back and forth. So, Rachel, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you first get started writing? Because I know that you have a history in journalism.
I do. Yeah. I did not study writing or journalism in undergrad or in grad school. I studied biology. I thought I was going to go to medical school. And then I realized in my senior year that I really enjoy writing. So I got a job in science journalism when I graduated and then went back to school and studied economics. And I've been writing ever since. Lauren and I used to work together at the Wall Street Journal. And then more recently, I've been writing for magazines. I write for Vanity Fair, Esquire, Elle, and this is my first foray into the fiction world. So it's been really fun and really interesting.
Great.
Sorry, that's my.
Lauren, what about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you
Yeah,
first get started writing?
I've been writing fiction from a very early stage. So I've written a lot of young adult novels. I wrote a bunch of young adult novels with a friend of mine who's now a friend of Rachel's. I wrote some of my own. I've ghostwritten. So I've been a fiction writer and journalist all along. But I feel like the fiction has been my main, passion and focus for the whole time that I've been alive as a grown up.
And this is what I think is really interesting in talking to journalists who then are also writing fiction, different style of writing. I mean, what are the differences that you found? And do you feel that your journalism background has really helped you in creating the novels that you write?
I'm going to jump in and just say I think our journalism background has helped us in terms of helping us create the create work the way we do, in that we kind of do take a journalistic approach to writing fiction, in that we are so collaborative and we are so I wouldn't say mean, but merciless. Like we work on a document and we pass it back and forth, and it's much more, I think, the way that, let's say, if you had an amazing editor who challenged you um, in your life, would possibly send something back and forth to you and just keep pushing you to make it better. That's what Rachel and I do with each other.
Yeah.
Rachel, how is that when you're working on the same document essentially concurrently?
It's fun. We're in the document at the same time, very rarely because we keep different hours, but we'll just write little notes to each other, write in all caps. I see her like cursor moving around and deleting things, and it's kind of amusing, but that happens very rarely. To go back to your earlier question about journalism and fiction, I think that being a journalist and so caught up in the fact-based world has almost hindered me in fiction writing at first because I was so caught up in what is that I couldn't imagine what could possibly be. And this book that we wrote, it involves time travel. It involves it's a speculative fiction book. So I had to really break out of that comfort zone of reporting and, being factual and accurate. And it really helped open my mind.
But I would also think for being a culture writer, and that again, kind of going to the theme of Memo of what if. I mean, isn't that kind of all of us, especially when we see so much on social media now, of look at how all these other people are living, and be it either in the world of entertainment or politics, it's like, wow, again, what memo did they get that I missed out on where I'm seeming to do everything right, but boy, I haven't quite hit those same pinnacles. I mean, did that again kind of help, or did it help frame some of the ideas behind?
I'm gonna
this
just,
novel?
yeah, I'm gonna jump in because Rachel is my culture vulture. So yes, her Rachel is so on the pulse. Rachel has read every single article that none of us have ever read of, but are meaning to read. Um, and I think our book is very much like about where we are now as a society. And I think Rachel really brought a lot of that to the table, where she was able to kind of help add in jokes about, you know, what it's like to be alive in 2023, 2024.
Yeah, there were like sort of elements of that social media influencer type stuff that made it wormed its way into the wormhole. Like people who wear helmets on their heads when they go to sleep in order to monitor their sleep patterns, and the whole biohacker influencers on Instagram, and how everybody wants to be super optimized. That was kind of a starting point that we wanted to really skewer in this book.
And what was the initial first kernel of the idea for you on this?
Well, Rachel and I, we had been talking about a number of ideas. I think the main idea that we had settled on was that we should do something together because we both really turned each other on intellectually and cracked each other up. And so we were playing around with different things. And then the memo was something, it initially came out literally like one day. I was personally really not wanting to go to my college reunion, and talking on the phone to someone else and saying, God, I didn't get the memo. I cannot show face. I cannot be there when everyone else has, started 9 companies or retired at the age of 35 or, da da da. Um, and I talked to Rachel, and the two of us just started playing around with this idea of not, the initial idea is, oh yes, a woman who should have been successful but actually is full of shame, feeling like she didn't get the memo, which I think everyone can relate to at any stage in her life. And then Rachel and I were playing around with this, and it became more of like I don't know if science fiction is the word, but like a very fanciful concept of what if there really was a memo. And every other woman had received her marching orders, and then this one, our protagonist, hadn't, gets them a little late, but still it's like her last chance to go back in time and redo everything. So,
Right.
but yeah, in terms of how the idea came about, we I think what was more important was that Rachel and I had identified each other as people we wanted to be partners with. So we were partners. We were playing around with other things. We had a few other pitches out in the world or that we were developing. And then I came to her and I was like, what about this memo thing? And I think, and Rachel, I mean, I don't think there was a second where Rachel said, this doesn't make any sense.
Oh,
And then
and
we just started building.
yeah, and it was like it all happened at the right time because we had talked about the concept of the memo and what if there was actually a memo, and we thought it was funny, but then the pandemic happened and we were kind of both, at home with our families, helping our kids do remote schooling. We were both freelancers. Lauren had had a full-time job, but she got laid off because she was spending too much time with her children, trying to homeschool them in the pandemic. And so we were both feeling like, wait, we made all these amazing moves at the start of our careers. We were both reporters at the Wall Street Journal. We both had written for the New York Times. Lauren's written for the New Yorker. We just like had a lot of like positive resume things, and here we were at home in the pandemic
Yeah.
wondering like how did it all add up to this, and I feel like that feeling of we didn't get the memo was really really profound at that moment, and we decided to like really dig in and explore this character and what would happen if one of us got the memo. What would that look like?
And I think that's something that so many of us have gone through at different points in our lives. I mean, I've been laid off before, and I was so identified with my career. And it's like, wow, it can just be gone with just the stroke of somebody's pen, right?
Mhm.
And so then what do you do next? How do you recover and figure out on these? And I think that's the other element here is, and I'm wondering the discussions that you guys had as you were working on the book, what was that blueprint for success essentially? Because I would think the idea of success is different for different people, be it the job, family, how you're spending your time. If you're able to retire, like you said, at like the age of 35, wouldn't that be great? But then what else are you going to do? How much back and forth did you guys have with that? Or was it something that evolved naturally as you're writing
Yeah,
the book based on the different scenarios?
right. I mean, the book, it really is a sliding doors kind of story. So there are two parallel tracks of Jenny Green's life. And the first track is her just kind of stuck. She's in Pittsburgh working at a, a dumb job at a dumb organization, living with a dumb guy, right? And then the alternate, I mean, the alternate track is not any more meaningful, but it's definitely more satisfying on some level, right? So on the alternate track where she gets her memo, she's able to join all of her fellow college classmates, and she's a winner, right? She's like on all the lists of, the blah 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 under blah 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 age, or um, she is an entrepreneur. She is no longer childless because she finds this guy, and is like, the memo helps her, complete her IVF program. um, I'm trying to, well, I mean, she's like, her real estate situation is fantastic. So those were the two, I think, like the side by side. And then, of course, something you're talking about is sort of like deeper meaning. And that, of course, comes into the book, where this woman who is able to, you know, toggle between these two worlds of what would it be like if I was a winner and I could like have nice clothes and fit into it in like the sizes that I wanted to, and also be a boss, and then what if, right, versus my real life. But I think that's a thing that comes about in the book, which obviously there's like a third way, which I don't want to give too much away about, but it's
Right.
not
What is,
about,
at
yeah.
Oh,
what
yeah.
cost? At
So
what
no
cost?
spoilers on the recording. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we explore like what are the trade-offs when you have everything that society thinks is optimal.
Okay, now I do need to ask because, okay, going over all of that, I did come across a line in my research about a horny Welsh sheep farmer
Amazing.
as
Where did
one
where did you
possibility
where did you find about
storyline.
him?
I mean, what other things crazy like that?
Wait, I have to ask, where did you find out about him? Do you remember?
You want me to give away all of my research
No, okay, that's
secrets?
fine. That's
I
fine.
mean, I scoured looking for stuff on you guys always.
We appreciate that. That's you
Yeah, yeah.
dug deep in the
And
memo.
he appreciates
Back
that
for-
because he's not in the book right now, but he's happy to be getting so mumuch spotlight right now.
Well,
idea.
what other crazy things like that did you guys go back and forth?
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
that, I mean, I
or
don't,
make a decision of that.
yeah, I will just say the book is like really, I hope people enjoy it. It's very zany, right? And it was extra zany when we started. I mean, Rachel and I were literally losing our minds, and we just, yes, like the love interest was a Welsh sheep farmer, who Jenny would watch, she would spy on via a sheep cam. Um, and now her love interest is like a more local, appropriate, sweet guy. Um, but I do feel like there were a lot of things that were in Rachel's and my initial document that we're not killed, but like put to the wayside, but their energy is still in the book. So I don't think anyone's going to read it and say it's not zany, it's not organic and nutty. It is. It's, we we tried to temper it a little bit because we recognized that we were having, in a way, like it was almost like too much of a fun inside joke, and we
Yeah,
wanted it to be more approachable for everyone.
I think there's like when you're writing speculative fiction and there's a time travel element and there's like a, a quantum leap type uh, element in the story, you can't also have like a Welsh sheep farmer and a person whose job is to create sound quills. It just creates too many unusual elements, and you really want the like what I learned in this process is like, yes, our minds were open and we were coming up with all these like crazy ideas, but you need to like really like reel it in at some point and like keep the reader on the tracks. There's a mechanical element to it, and that is what we aim to do. And so we had to cut the sheep farmer loose, we had to change Jenny's job, we had to change the love interest, but the story is the same. It's still about a person who finally gets her chance to be a winner, and what does that look like?
And the other thing with this novel, I think it focuses so much on the female friendships as opposed to necessarily the love interest element. How important was that for you to really focus on that in the story?
Lauren brought up a really interesting point last night when we were doing our launch event, and that I never even like it never even occurred to me. She said that like she's not writing sex scenes is not her forte, and so we focused on the female friendships. And I mean, I think that is true, but it's not my forte either. And but we really did want the narrative to be centered around these two friends, because I think as you get older and as you couple off, those female friendships become really more important. And when you're climbing the corporate ladder and raising kids and doing all of these things, it's these relationships that are often like sacrificed at the altar of ambition. And it can be really a tragedy. And we wanted to really explore two women who really love each other and understand each other, but they're on like separate tracks, and ultimately they have to figure out how to help each other.
And I
Even
think those women groups are so important, like you
yeah.
said, right? I mean, it is that there are some, especially when they are in different portions of life and different areas, that you can lean on them, get different advice, and are different core groups like that.
Yeah, this book is all about someone who's trying to, like, master the art of ambition, right? And so the things that she's looking out about are, right, her career and her love life. I'm not sure what, maybe her biological clock, etc. But I feel like in the initial track where Jenny is just trying to go ahead, of course, her friends, are by the wayside. They live in different cities. They're in touch, they text, but it's not really, I don't know, that integral to what she's doing and thinking about every day. So, but obviously, as Rachel and I, are kind of like closet philosophers in this book and examining what a life that is worth living looks like. Of course, female friendship really comes to the fore.
Well, I
Agree.
want to switch over to what we call our fresh fiction facts, which are rapid fire questions. And in the spirit of alternate pathways, who would you most want to be stuck in an elevator with?
Um, Gosh, that's such a good question.
You're gonna say something really philosophical. I'm gonna say Dominic West, but you're gonna say something.
Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah,
You knew I would say that.
Those are two very different answers. Yes. What luxury item can you not live without?
I'm gonna say my bag. I bought a beautiful bag last summer, and I just wear it literally every single day. And I just keep thinking I was so clever to have purchased a beautiful bag in Paris that, I can, I'm wearing right now, basically a nightgown from Old Navy. But if you wear the bag on top of it, one can kind of come across as looking put together.
Yeah, I'm not wearing them right now, but I'm really into diamond hoop earrings that are like inside
Ooh,
out. So I have
ooh.
black diamond ones and white diamond ones, and I love to wear them because they're just like you can just like spruce up any outfit and you don't have to do much.
You can dress it up, dress it down.
Up, dress it down,
Yeah.
day to night.
What is your most dog-eared book? The thing that you continue to go back to over and over?
Slaughterhouse-Five.
I would probably say anything by Lori Moore.
What is something that you own a ridiculous amount of?
Hmm. Lip balm.
Glasses.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of, I'm starting to get a lot of reading glasses too. They're really fun.
I have them everywhere, you know?
And books.
That and I am starting to
I guess everyone you
read
talk
too,
to
Lauren.
has a gazillion books, but um, a gazillion million books everywhere. And bubble gum. I love bubble gum.
I think
My
those two are starting to go hand in hand, right? The more books you
glasses
have,
and
the more reading glasses.
it's the best. Yeah, it's a good combo. But I would say it's a trifecta: bubble gum, reading glasses, books, and seltzer. Seltzer.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got a lot of different things that you own a crazy amount of, Lauren.
Yes, I'm a hoarder.
Hey, what is the craziest thing that you have bought online or from TV?
Um, I don't know about like crazy, but if I'm served enough ads on Instagram for like an item of clothing, it is like 100% I will buy it. And so I just spent a ridiculous amount of money on an outfit that kept showing up in my feed from this random brand that I'd never heard of in Spain, and I had it shipped from Spain, and I love it. It like it fits so well, and I'm so happy that I bought it. But you know, it's not that weird, but it's I took a leap on the
Right.
underwear.
It was not a brand you knew about, and you
Yeah.
just said like yeah, this is your fate.
Yes, I was like, I must have this.
Um, I got a toaster that recently that makes toast look like Hello Kitty. Like it has a little like it from the internet. That was pretty delightful.
Okay. All right, you've been kidnapped, but they return you 2 hours later because you will not stop talking about what?
Wait, what? So we turn off our kidnappers because we're so annoying, but we can't because we can't stop talking
The
about
kid
something.
exactly. The kidnapper is so sick of you because you just won't shut up and stop talking about
Uh,
whatever subject.
About, okay, I know about different colors of off-white paint. I just moved and like there's just so many and you never know what they're going to look like in different lights, and you really have to just like it's a leap of faith when you pick an off-white color. And I was,
mm.
I have the chips and I'm going around and asking my husband, what about this one and what about this, so that I think that would drive a kidnapper insane. Or my dog.
Who's
Come
right there?
here. She's so
Sweetie.
cute.
I would say Canadian true crime from the 1980s. I might go crazy, especially involving hockey players. That's yeah, my kidnappers probably get annoyed with that.
Wow, that's very specific.
Well,
Canadian
okay, all
true
right.
crime
I can give
hockey
you something
players?
more vague. A more a more vague thing. How about just like gossip about all the women in my life who drive me crazy? That would probably drive a kidnapper crazy. Not Rachel. Rachel doesn't drive me crazy.
She's not in that
No.
number then. What was your first magazine, book, box subscription? I'm especially curious about this because you both have written for other publications.
Yeah, many. Yeah. Okay, well, my first, I will say when I was young, I used to send fan letters to the journalist at Psychology Today when I was like in fifth grade. I used to read Psychology Today. I don't even know if they still make that magazine, but that was my thing. They do. Okay. Um, that was my number one first.
Okay, I really liked Sassy magazine. very Gen X type person. And I thought that magazine was amazing. But, I wasn't like that into journalism until after college.
Which is great. So you actually got to
What is
leave college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
what is
was
something that instantly pulls you out of a story, be it either a book or a movie?
You mean something that just makes you say, I don't think so?
Exactly. Something I don't think so, or it ruins the mood.
I don't like when women in movies are like portrayed as like mean because they lost a child. I think that's like just such a trope, and it's lazy. And if I see that, I want to leave the movie.
And I would just say I am such a stickler for humor. And if something is not funny or is like want to be funny but failing to be funny, I will, like I'm much more forgiving with other kinds of flaws. If something, let's say, is right, trying to be moving and kind of moving, or um, if it's a dinner party scene and it all feels awkward, but everyone's trying. But comedy, I take comedy seriously, which I guess is a bit of a paradox, but I do. And so if something is just not funny, and especially if it's trying to be funny but isn't, I will probably click away
Yeah.
and just watch like a Gordon Ramsay show instead.
If you came with a warning label, what would it say?
It would say, do not call me.
Do not call me?
Yeah, I don't like incoming calls. Like, I don't like unexpected income. Like, from you, it's different, but like for most people,
So weird.
don't call me. I don't want to talk. I need warning. I need advance warning.
Hmm. I feel like for me, more, it was something like, you know, get ready. This lady, like, I am just, I'm becoming less and less good at being boring and contained. I'm almost 47 now. So my warning label would probably just say, get ready. She's she's gonna say something that might
Fire.
provoke you immediately, but hopefully you'll find her amusing too.
Right? What warning label do you think the two of you guys should have together?
Hmm.
Annoying, like these two. I feel like a lot of Rachel's and my journey had to do with us being annoying, like being insistent that we were working on something. We did not have a publisher who gave us a book deal up front that we were completing. It was much the opposite, meaning it was much the opposite. So but we were very determined and we believed in ourselves. But I think there's something, I think a lot of people want to write a book but are afraid to. And I think Rachel and I just kind of kept at it in a way that one might find nutty, right?
Yeah, I think like Gen Z might call us extra, because we're just like we're intense and we don't give up.
Yeah. And the more doubt that we felt, like the more extra we became.
Now, see, you guys just need to put a more positive spin on that. I mean, that's persistence, not giving up. I mean, these are good
Yeah.
things,
Well,
Oh yeah.
obviously, I mean, look at the book behind you.
right?
If
That
it
book would
was,
not be there behind you. We would not be talking to you Rachel and I, there was just a while where it was just the two of us on phone calls saying, we think this is a really cool idea.
yeah.
So yes, we were persistent, and also like the other word, I don't know, there's something, it's more boring. I don't know what you call it, but we both worked, we had a daily work ethic. Every day we worked on this book. Um, so we were persistent, manic, we believed in it, but also we kind of just sort of stored up little work sessions day by day by day, and it added up to something.
Well, what can our readers and listeners look for next from each of you?
Well, we both are journalists. We both like have different articles coming out. I am currently working on a television show that I hope will become something. It will. And Lauren
Well,
would eventually like to do something else together. We don't know quite what it is yet. We're trying to like get through this launch first before we figure that out. But definitely, we're interested in doing something.
and we've also, in the meantime, we have a kind of like baby project that we're
Oh
nurturing,
yeah,
which, yeah.
the Substack. Like we just launched a Substack called Funny Girls, with an avatar of Barbara Streisand, of course, patron saint of Funny Girl. And it's a humor Substack because we think we're funny, and there's only two publications right now that will publish humor pieces, the New Yorker and McSweeney's, two like major ones. And they don't accept a lot of things. And we wrote something and they didn't accept it. And we're like, as we said, we're determined and persistent. And we're like, so we'll start our own thing. And
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, yeah, that's kind of us. We have these little sabers and we're like poking at the world. Right. So the idea with Funny Girls is it's not just, I mean, Rachel and I are going to continue, I think, to write humor pieces, but we're also seeing it as a way of us being comedy editors and asking friends of ours, like amazing women. It turns out if you ask any amazing woman writer, do you have a comedy piece or a humor piece that you couldn't find a home for? The answer is yes, right? So we're just like bringing them and we're just going to put them out in the world and say the world should be nicer to women who write comedy.
yeah, we're saying, look at how funny these people are. And there's nowhere to put this stuff. And so they're going to put it in our newsletter and the
Yeah,
world can.
yeah. I think we have like 17 subscribers.
We
Uh,
have like, we have 50 now, but
Okay,
like,
I'm downplaying it, but it's not. I mean, it's sort of fun. I think our book is doing really. It's been that the book has been really nice, but it's fun to have this other thing that's just so scrappy, so like under the radar, and and just getting these random little messages from strangers who are finding it. And like, there's a guy who just wrote to us and he's like, I really like this, really resonates with me, but I'm a man. Is it okay if I follow? He's like, there was a line that Rachel wrote. She said, it's a man cave, but for women. And he said that spoke to him, but he recognizes he's not a woman, but he wants to be part of our journey. And so we said,
come in. All you're welcome. Come on
yeah,
in.
yeah,
We're here for you. But we like to celebrate failure. I mean, I think that there were a lot of fails on the way to creating this book. And it was only in admitting that things weren't going right and that we weren't getting where we needed to go that we wound up being able to do it. So I think there is something, nobody wants to talk about failure. You look on the internet and you see people publishing books and making shows, and it just seems like it was just
yeah,
created out of thin air and you don't see the
yeah,
process behind it. And we just want to be more honest about it and say, like, no, like
yeah.
this is not a straight line. We went up and down, and like it was not a sure thing at all. And we want to celebrate that.
And I think we want to hold on to that because I feel like so many people who I love, so many of my idols, were, failed creatives who finally got a break and then they kind of like lost it, right? Like if you read the work of people who suddenly just become so successful, sometimes it's less intriguing than, let's say, like their first few books, or same with movies. And I think Rachel and I, we just kind of we love being a little like deviant and a little provocative and a little I don't know, like empowering for ourselves and for other people who we like. And so that's what we're doing. The memo clearly is about a woman who is, by just the basic definition, a failure. And we relate to that. And I don't think either of us wants to suddenly just be like the boss of the world and, a heartless winner.
Yeah, failing is a gift in some ways because it keeps you humble and it's the only way you learn. So we think failure needs to be discussed more and celebrated.
Well, the memo is definitely not going to be a failure, I am willing to say. And in addition to following you on the new Substack, Funny Girls, where else should our readers and listeners go to follow what else is going on? Basic updates, seeing what else is happening? What are your handles?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Rachel Doge, just one word. I'm on Twitter at Rachel D, and Threads at the same handle as my Instagram.
And I haven't yet to figure out Threads, but I'm on Twitter as Lauren Mechling, my name, Lauren, Mechling. And then I'm on Instagram as Laurenomics, like Freakonomics, but Lauren, obviously, yeah.
Well, Rachel, Lauren, thanks again for joining us today. I really enjoyed talking with you and finding out more about the memo and your journey with this book. But stick around for the happy hour and additional questions from our readers.
Okay, thanks.
Samantha, this was great.